Hello, Trent Dr. Whitmire. This is my next playing video for this week, and I'm going to start off with some long tones. Okay, if I had to talk about my tone, I would say my tone in the upper register is really good. My tone at the bottom, however, was not as loud, and to fix that, I would drop my teeth more, open my jaw, and push faster air. That's something I would harsh on my beginners with because that's something that a lot of people do and they don't really think about it. Naturally, those notes are gonna get late. I'm not talking about the bottom ones, of course. They're gonna get late. As they get to the audience and stuff like that. So you need to push faster air to make them project a little faster. Also, my stand height is good. With my beginners, I want it to be eye level, and to fix that, I would do the extremes. So I go really, really high and really, really low to show them, okay, I need to be eye level, so it gives them a good vantage point at the director, and they're able to look at the music. Okay, so now I'm going to do some articulated notes now. And then it's just going to be for 4 notes of the same thing, basically with long tones, but they can be articulated. So. Okay, articulation, that was pretty good. With my beginners, I'd want them to their tongue to hit the gum and gum and where the teeth meet perfectly fine. And also, I would want to make sure that they have continuous air all the way through. A tendency for most people is to stop their air as they're articulating, but I want them to push air all the way through those articulated notes. So to simulate that, I would show them like a faucet and running their hand under it, and I would say the faucet is your air and your hand is the tongue. As much as you want to stop the water, you can't. Your hand just interrupts the water. Same thing with the air in your tongue. Your tongue just interrupts the air, but it never stops going. Okay, and now I'm gonna go on to chromatics, an octave. Okay, I'm going to talk about that. I would say that my tone at the bottom has gotten a lot better, and that a good way to get your beginners to make the top and low notes sound dynamically the same, have them crescendo all the way down to the low notes and push faster air. On the way back up, it's easier to kind of get lazy, like, oh, I know these notes already, but I'd have them crescendo to the top as well, and really make sure they're pushing air to the top and they're not straining, because some kids can't hit those notes when you're teaching them. Hopefully they will be. I mean, they should be able to, but just in case, it's a good way to just practice, using that air the correct way. Okay, next I'm going to go to my 3 scales. So I'm going to do C major. Okay, let's talk about that one. I would say that I did a good job of correcting myself when I kicked out my 3rd vowel slide too early, but I did make sure I had it out for the D, the 1 and 3, D right here. Also, I would say that my low notes, once again, weren't as loud as my top notes. That's just how that's just part of the game, and just fighting against that. If I had to come up with a solution for that, it would just be crescendo all the way down, or just long tones at different dynamics with those playing really soft and just growing as much as possible, and it'll just grow their dynamic range a lot. So from there, I'm gonna play B flat major. If I had to talk about that one, I'd say my high notes were not strained. Everything was pretty even. The last note was tapered properly. Rhythm was even. There wasn't any sort of like tension in the body. Also, my breathing is really really good. One thing I would do differently with this one though is I would add a little bit of musicality to this one, and by musicality I just mean dynamic contrast. So as I'm going up, I got a crescendo. As I'm going down, I just decrescendo and just kind of make it a one big giant phrase. And I'm gonna do that with the next one. So next one I'm gonna play is E flat major. Okay, if I talk about that one, I would say that all the notes are correct. Everything was in the correct order. I did crescendo on the top, did crescendo towards the bottom. I don't have much to talk about this one. Only thing I would really say to change is just maybe the articulation style. Maybe change it up. So once your kids kind of know the scales, you can change articulation on them. So like you could be like slur to tongue to, all slurred. And with all slurred, you can really make sure the kids are, using their air properly. Because if you stop using your air, the top notes and stuff like that, it'll feel strained and it won't come out. Also with breathing, I feel my breathing is really good. If I wanted my kids to breathe, I would do a 3-part breath intake. So the tank, your chest, and then your throat. But what I would tell them is do not hitch at the top. That's like the main problem with most playing nowadays, is that people will hitch at the top of their breath and they get caught and say and that, and you don't want that. You want a continuous airstream, and that just teaches them good airflow, good air control, just really good breathing fundamentals. Okay, and then next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to play 6 songs, and then it's going to be one song of my choice. I'm going to play Frère Jacques. Okay, to talk about that one, I would say that really good dynamics wise and trying to be as musical as possible. One thing I'll do differently is that I would bring the attention that the students that in the second to last measure that there are accents there. So I want to make an articulation difference. I want to hear articulation difference, and to explain that, I would talk about their left sides and the right sides of the notes depending on the age group. I just want more front, so more T or ta on those notes to really make those, like really punch those notes, but not too much where they get a bad sound. Okay, next, what I'm going to play is Jolly Old St. Nicholas. And in measure 30, we're introduced to a new note, so I would go through my beginners and be like, okay, so what new note do we have? We have A. That would be third position for trombones. So the A, I'd have them do 1 and 2 and hold it. And do that and play it, and we'd go through number 30 a couple of times just to really make sure they have it. And then we just say, okay, and measure in number 30, stop on the A and just hold it out as long as you can. And just really make sure they listen, and just really get that in their ear. So I'm going to play Jolly Old St. Nicholas A. talk about that one, I would say everything was pretty good. There were some articulation issues with that, and I just make sure I be more forceful with my tongue and really make sure it's hitting the correct spot that I need. Also, I would say that just crescendo to the long notes and just don't make them so stagnant. Like, I mean, short notes lead to long notes and long notes to the short notes. It's just making that phrase and making everything kind of flow together really easily. Okay, so then moving on to the next song. The song I'm gonna play next would be Crusaders March, and we cut off on beat 3 on this one in the last measure. Now, normally I might skip this one just for the general purposes of there being, not a full rest, and they're probably not used to cutting off together quite yet. I think it's a little too early for that, but I would work around it and just say hold the last note all 4 counts. So, but this is Crusaders March. Okay. If I had to critique that one, I would say my E's were really fuzzy. So to fix that, I would just drop my jaw and make it everything not so tight. And just push fast air all the way through those notes just to make them sound a little bit more clear and open as my other notes did. Also, I think articulation was good. Musicality was there. And just really making sure I hit all those correct notes. Okay, so moving on. We have Climbing Stairs. Do this one, and this should be number 4, I believe. So this is Climbing Stairs. And also in this one, we have a new note, which would be B flat. So I would go through B flat and make them hold it, listen to it, sing it to them, and really just make sure they understand this is a new fingering, which on trumpet is going to be 1, 1, and then on the trombone, it's just going to be first position. So, all right. It's just Climbing Stairs. Okay, to talk about that one, I would say that the B flat came out the way I wanted it to. Everything was open, everything was fine. I did some dynamic shaping with the notes and really made sure those short notes lead into those long notes, but I made sure the long notes kind of blend into the next measure to make some musicality with it. Let's see what else. I would really just make sure the breathing is still very good here because, just a little reminder helps the kids remember things. Now moving on to the next one, I'm going to play There's Music in the Air, number 64. And with this one, before I would start, I'd be like, okay, there's this big jump. So I'd have them just play that jump a couple times just to do it, just like this. Have them really understand what that is. I mean, it's a major 6, but kids don't understand that yet. And I wouldn't teach it to them because that's one of those things you just kind of leave out until a later date where you feel like you're comfortable and you feel like they're up to that level of understanding. So this is There's Music in the Air. When I talk about that one, I would say that the hardest part about this one is just really making sure that the C to A is clear and making sure you use the C to springboard yourself all the way up to the A. And that's really all I have to say about that one. I mean, yes, there is B flat and there is this cutting off on beat 3 instead of 4, but I feel like if you did that beforehand and brought it to their attention, everything would be fine. Let's see, moving onward, and I think this will be my last one out of the packet that I get to pick one of my own. Let's see, what's one I haven't played in a while. I'm gonna play Good King Wenceslas, and this is just one of those good old, Christmas tunes you always hear. I maybe just want to around Christmas time, and just really bring it out. Like, hey, let's do something Christmas oriented That way, they had some fun and they're more engaged. Like, oh my God, Christmas, let's do some